Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to this show. Welcome to my company. Welcome everywhere. My name's Stuart Davis. I'm a flawed man of God, deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. Not here to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. I'm not a pastor, biblical scholar, and I haven't been to seminary. I'm here to talk about God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, the Bible, Christianity, wide variety of topics and issues, current events, and give you my perspective on them. One that I think is reflective of your average Christian guy. If you're new to Christianity or if you're seeking out Christ, welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you here. Hopefully, the format that we have here, the information that we share, and the open and honest um, layperson perspective that we are showing here between myself and the chat helps get you to a place where you can get to going to church, looking for Christ, accepting Him into your life, and starting along a path to salvation. Please stick with us. Hopefully, you find what you're looking for here. Hopefully, it'll get you curious for more. And there we go. If you are already a Christian, like I know many of you guys in the chat are, if you're already a Christian, you just enjoy Christian topics and discussions, we're glad to have you here. I encourage you, whether you are a beginner or somebody just seeking it out, or a long time, much more versed in the word than I am, smarter, more mature in your faith, it's not that difficult to do. Not much difficult to be better than me, but regardless of where you are on that graph, I encourage you to be part of the chat. Chat's great. Great group of folks, night in and night out. We run it very similar to a Wednesday night study group or a Sunday school. We're just trying to be a small, tight-knit community, talking about God, looking out for each other, and sharing opinions. Your opinion has value. And since we are so small, if you do type that 2 cents worth into the chat, I will respond to it. Right. And I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll find that it's better. It makes the show better. So I always encourage people to be part of the chat. I want to hear what you say. Because even if it's something we disagree with, at least we're talking about something. So how's everybody doing this evening? We're at Tuesday night. All right. Just settling into the week. Son had soccer practice. It went very well. I like coaching kids. I didn't think I would. And there you have it. And there you have it. It's joys in life. Teaching those younger than us. It is a more rewarding experience than I thought it would be. And what I need to do is try to find the correct way to get kids who won't hustle to hustle. When they don't want to run, to get them to run. Because I know how I would talk to an adult, and it's not the same way I'm going to talk to a kid. Hopefully y'all's week is going well. Hopefully you had a great weekend. Great night. Rain this way. T-ball was canceled for us. The fields were canceled last night for us, Carl. Fields were canceled last night, but our practices are being on Tuesdays. I think you guys got think you guys are getting the remnants of what we got, or you're getting what's getting ready to come our way. So T-ball, man, kind of, it's a sport I kind of wish my son had gotten into. My only problem with baseball is the parents, and not necessarily you, Carl, but I'm sure if you, especially baseball in Virginia, and Virginia's not the only state that has this issue, but baseball in Virginia is so political, and some parents are so driven in making sure that their kid is the best. Oh, they're not? Good. Look, if the parents in your league at baseball, it is in soccer. Not kind of, we've kind of got the reverse. We've got a pretty decent soccer community for parents, because it's just it's very soccer in around here is soccer for me, or soccer around here, is very casual. It's not that big of a deal here. But baseball is such a big deal. No, I'm not the parent that fights the coach. I'm actually one of the assistant coaches. I have taken issue with the ref before. And it's tough being a ref for some of these folks. Y'all have got me on all these different bouncing around on this. There's a nationwide shortage on referees for whatever reason. And if you're looking for the reason, just look at the way people talk to them. I don't have a problem with a referee that maybe I don't agree with or call the play. What I don't like is when it's dangerous play out there. My son's a goalie, and I was a goalie growing up as a kid, so I'm very sensitive to that. So when the goalie has the ball, a lot of times, especially at this age, kids don't know necessarily when to stop. Ref needs to be on that whistle. Ref needs to be communicating that. I've had a couple of times where the ref was slow and my son was on the ground with the ball, and there's a lot of feet moving towards him, and I've taken him aside for that. The other problem has been just a ref that's just walking around head in the clouds and just not caring. They're just collecting a check. Those are the only two I really care about. Coaches, I just want to see coaches that are involved with the kids. Most of the coaches I've seen have been really good. There was one coach that we coached against last year. I don't know his name. He just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. His team was really chippy in their play, but he didn't refer to them by name. He just referred to them by position. And he just seemed so like it seemed like he was trying to live vicariously through the kids, as opposed to being a mentor, being a teacher, being an instructor. There's a difference between the two. But going back to what Carl was talking about, baseball or softball. I mean, look, I like softball. I play the men's league softball. And maybe my youngest daughter will be into softball. That would be very cool. But baseball, and actually softball as well, in this area is very, very competitive for some reason. Overly competitive, to the point where if you're not dedicated to travel, if you're not dedicated to all of your weeknights being absorbed by baseball or softball, you may not have a great time at it. And that's terrible, because like, if what Carl's talking about, if you've got a good baseball community, it's such a rewarding game. It's such a fun game to watch kids play. It's just, to me, baseball's got so many elements. I'm a baseball fan. So, but it'll be softball for you. Hey, hopefully it'll be for me too, Carl. But I'm glad to see your community is more mature than mine when it comes to that sport. So, what we got going on? Dresden's first tonight. I didn't see Nico. Carl's second. Veritak's third in here. Matt Felty, you are the church. We are the church. We are the church. Church is a building, right? As we understand it, what we oftentimes forget, the bride of Christ is us. We set the standard, or we set the standard for what other people see in us. And we should be looking at the standard, which is Scripture. Matt Felty, shout out to the Off-Grid fam on replay. Yeah, Alias is gone. I'm assuming Emmanuel Osorio is probably on the road. I hope to hear them. I know Nico's been very interested in catching these streams and learning more. It's glad to see Nico more presence more than it has been over the past couple of weeks, or at weeks before that. Nico's been actually more present the past few weeks. So, if you're busy, you're busy. And as much as I like having you guys here in the live chat, if you can't make it, whatever. Or if you've got something else going on, that's great. The Bible isn't going anywhere, and neither is the replays on this show. And hopefully you guys are all on the right path, if not well established in your faith. But folks who hear it new, I just like getting their input and seeing them seeing them grow in their understanding of what's going on. So Alex said, my local schools are canceling stuff later this week with the prep of flooding. That sounds like Florida man down there or somewhere in that region. Hey, stay dry as best you can. Stay well. I know that stuff is stressful. My wife grew up in a town in Virginia, right there on the peninsula, on one of the Virginia peninsulas at the Chesapeake Bay, near Langley Air Force Base. And every time a nor'easter came through, everybody had to park at a certain spot in town because everybody's driveways would flood. So when Hurricane Isabel came through, 20 years ago almost, that town got destroyed, absolutely laid to waste. And then you started seeing the houses that did survive get raised up. And luckily her parents' houses were able to be saved and raised, and now they are good rental properties for us. Let's see. Watching coaches try to coach and parents contradict the coach is so crazy. Yeah. Luckily, I don't know what anybody says about me. I'm on the other side. So I think I'm doing a great idea. For me, the first step is learning the kids' names. Making sure you know the kid's name, the kid knows you care about the kid knows you care about them just a little bit more. Oh, you've done the refereeing game? It's a tough job, man. Tough job. All right, so let's get into Job. Right? Job, when we left him, or to give you the quick synopsis of Job up to this point. Job, very well-to-do, one of the richest men on the planet, it seems. Self-made man, it seems like. Lots of land, lots of servants, lots of livestock, lots of money, lots of kids. And even though he's got all this stuff to maybe take some pride in, he remains humble and obedient to God. He's righteous in all ways. And so Satan, while he's presenting himself to God, God says, take a look at my man down there, Job. He is awesome, right? All the sins that you dabble in, all the sins that you hold up is great. He doesn't listen to any of that. And look at him. He still stays true to me. And Satan's like, yeah, of course he would. His life is great. He's got no reason to abandon you. He knows he's not going to bite the hands that feeds him. But if you stop feeding him and you let him go hungry, he'll abandon you in a heartbeat. God says, huh, bet. Let's get it up. And so he says, all right, put it to the test. Satan goes down, takes all of his livestock away, kills the servants and kids. It's a lot for a man to absorb. Job is understandably devastated. You can't dig a hole. You can't dig a hole much deeper than where Job is. And yet Job stays faithful. Naked I came into this world, and naked I shall leave. The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. And so the next time Satan goes to present himself, God said, look, told you. Job's down there doing the right thing, doing what he's supposed to do, staying loyal, staying true, staying obedient. And Satan said, sure, yeah, I took his stuff away. I killed his kids. I didn't do anything to the man. You put that man in pain. You start affecting him physically, mentally. Oh, yeah, he's going to crack. He'll turn on you. So God said, all right, put him to the test. You can't kill him, though. So Satan goes down, afflicts him with boils, lesions, skin disease, sound like leprosy, all sorts of weird, painful maladies. And we see Job in pain and agony and depressed over the loss of his kids and his wealth. And his wife says, "Why don't you curse God and die?" And then Job has to watch his wife lose her faith, really. And he chastises her and goes and sits out by himself. And that's where he's joined by his friends. His friends go out there and sit with him for about a week. Nobody's saying anything. And finally, Job just says, he starts letting loose. He's starting to unload on what's going on. And he talks the talk of the man who has been a defeated man. I wish I'd never been born. I curse the day of my conception. And he is the embodiment of forlorn despair. Where is it? In chapter 3, why is the light given to him who is in misery, and life to the bitter in soul, who wait for death, but it does not come, and dig and search for death more diligently than for hidden treasures? I just want to die. Who rejoice exceedingly and rejoice when they find the grave. Please just kill me. I am ready to go. I wish I had never been here. The feelings that I'm feeling are so deep and profound that I'd rather have no feeling at all. And so Eliphas starts to come out with this word vomit, it seems like. We don't know where he really, at least I haven't been able to discern where he's really going with things, because he kind of comes at things from two directions. But he can't read sarcasm in text. And it's not given one way or the other which way it is. So we see him talk about how why is Job despairing? You've helped people in need. You've helped people in need. And why are you so upset now that you're the person in need? You know that the Lord loves all, regardless. But at the same time, he doesn't trust you. He knows you're going to abandon him. You must have done something wrong. I was visited by a spirit, and we're pretty sure the spirit is Satan. Satan comes to Eliphas and starts saying all this stuff. It seems really rebellious. It seems really, seems really the themes of what Satan is saying. Very much somebody who is resentful of their station, somebody that God has punished. As if God saves the innocent from the sword in the mouth of the devious and the poor from the hands of the mighty. And we hear that in the next chapter. So it sounds at one point like he's like, God is this uncaring, easily agitated deity. And then the next was like, oh no, he's great and benevolent. So what is Eliphas really saying? We don't know. It's a lot of nothing. It's a lot of guy who has been sitting not talking and just needs to talk. And this stream of consciousness that goes on with him really doesn't have an overarching point to it. Sounds like he's just saying these thoughts as they come to him. And so we read 3 chapters instead of our normal 2. And so we'll pick up with chapter 6. And that's where we'll start. Eliphas is done talking, for the moment at least. And now Job is going to answer. Chapter 6. Job chapter 6. Job's friends are no help. Then Job answered and said, oh, that my grief could actually be weighed and placed in the balances together with my tragedy to see if my grief is the grief of a coward. For now it would be heavier than the sand of the sea. Therefore my words have been incoherent, because the arrows of the Almighty are within me. My spirit drinks their poison. The terrors of God are arrayed against me. Does the wild donkey bray when he has grass? Or that does the ox low over his fodder? Can something that has no taste to it be eaten without salt? Or is there any flavor in the white of an egg? My soul refuses to touch them. Such things are like loathsome food to me, sickening and repugnant. Oh, that my request would come to pass, and that God would grant me the thing that I long for. I wish that it would please God to crush me, that he would let loose his hand and cut me off. Then I would still have consolation, and I would jump for joy amid unsparing pain, that I have not denied or hidden the words of the Holy One. What strength do I have left that I should wait and hope? And what is ahead of me that I should be patient and endure? Is my strength and endurance that of stones, or is my flesh made of bronze? Is it that I have no help within myself, and that success and wisdom have been driven from me? For the despairing man, there should be kindness from his friend, so that he is not abandoned or turn away from the fear of the Almighty. My brothers have acted deceitfully like a brook, like the torrents of brooks that vanish, which are dull and dirty because of ice, and into which the snow melts and hides itself. When it is warm, they are silent and cease to flow. When it is hot, they vanish from their place. The paths of their course wind along. They go up into nothing and perish. Your counsel is as helpful to me as a dry steam bed in the heat of summer. The caravans of Tema, or the caravans of Tema, looked for water. The caravans of Sheba waited for them in vain. They were put to shame and disappointed because they had trusted that they would find water. They came there and were ashamed. Indeed, you have now become like a dried up stream. You see a terror, believing me to be a victim of the wrath of God, and are afraid to be compassionate. Did I ever say, give me something, or pay a bribe for me from your wealth, or rescue me from the adversary's hands, or redeem me from the hand of tyrants? Teach me, and I will be silent, and show me how I have erred. How painful are words of honesty. But what does your argument prove? Do you intend to reprove my words with a convincing argument? When the words of one in despair belong to the wind and go ignored, you would cast lots, gamble over the fatherless, and bargain away your friend. Now, please look at me and see if I lie to your face, for you know that I would not. Turn away from your suspicion. Let there be no injustice. Turn away from my righteousness, and vindication is still in it. I'm sorry, turn away. My righteousness and vindication is still in it. Is there injustice or malice in my tongue? Can my palate not discern what is destructive? Um, Job starts this rebuke with more of the, as Veritax aptly said yesterday, woe is me. Grief is heavier than the sand of the sea if you could weigh it. I like this part more. This is it's a very eloquent part here, because the arrows of the Almighty are within me. I've been struck down by God. My spirit drinks their poison. The terrors of God have arranged against me. He feels like God has turned against him for some reason, or he doesn't know if there's any reason. Let me back up there. Cross that out. He feels that God is against him. And maybe he's not, maybe part of him is searching for why, but another part doesn't care. The pain and the grief are, he is overcome with it. Oh, that my request would come to pass and that God would grant me the thing I long for. If there's a point here that you guys caught while what I read that you want me to go back and talk about, please let me know. Because I'm just going to hit the points that were sticking out to me. There's a lot to pull from. Oh, that my request would come to pass and God would grant me the thing that I long for. To end me. He's like Rorschach at the end of The Watchmen. Joe Brown, yeah. He's like Rorschach in the end of talking to oh crap, what's the guy's name? The blue guy. Mr. Doc crap. One of you guys will figure it out for me. Um and he's just like, kill me. Do it. That's what he wants. He wants to be obliterated. Obliterated right where he stands, to just cease to exist. The piece of nothingness. All of my takes are flawed. Thanks, Jab. They are. Dr. Manhattan. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt. Nernath coming in. Job is Nernath. I wish you'd have been here yesterday. I need you as my unofficial brackets official end brackets ombudsman for this show to check me on this stuff as I go through here. Job is falling into the general idea that good things happen to good people. It is a generally true rule, but not always. His friends come from the other side. Bad things happen to bad people. And Veritex here, this is something to remember here. Like I said, Job rambles a bit in these two chapters. Job's rambling, but let me take this back. Both sides, I think, have some justification in rambling. I don't think Eliphas knows what to say, but he thinks he needs to say something. So he says a lot of things, and a lot of things are wrong. Job is overcome with grief. So he's not in his right. He's not in his best form to be thinking coherent thoughts. He's in pain. He's in a great deal of loss and anguish, physically and spiritually. So if we just keeping it real. Thanks, Jab. So if we keep that stuff in mind, you got to really try to put yourself as best your shoes of everybody who's talking, right? Because these are real people trying to do real things. Now, maybe some of the words have been made more poetic. I don't know. Don't know how this all got recorded as and basically put together as the book of Job. But you got to remember the perspective of the people talking here. One is a friend who's been visited by a demon, doesn't know that he's been visited by a demon, and he is seeing his friend in anguish. He's trying to come make some sense of it. He's probably friends with the man's kids. They're gone. He doesn't know what to say, but Eliphas, kind of like me, doesn't know what to say. He's got to say something, though. You're going to run your mouth and stick your foot right into it. And Job, if you've ever talked to or been a person dealing with grief, you know that the rambling that Veritax is referencing and that you're seeing here, I mean, it just happens. You're looking, you've got a mix of emotions, and you're just throwing stuff out. Right. Nerne said, the nice thing is that God is not blaming Job for asking questions or working through this. It is all right to ask. And I think that this is a thing that it's all right, Nernath. I'm just saying, you're deeply missed. I think this is a good thing to point out, right? God understands that we are not going to understand. God understands that we will not understand all the things that are going on, right? And we're going to see how this all ties in at the end. But it doesn't keep us from trying to make sense of it. And I think he understands that too. Remember, we're made in his image, right? That desire to create of ourselves, the desire that we have in ourselves to create, we get from God. At least that's the way that's what makes sense. That's how it makes sense to me. That's what I believe when we are made in this image. A lot of all who we are flawed aspects of him. So, yeah, God knows what's going on in our minds and our hearts and our souls. So, we're going to see a very interesting side of God when he finally does show up in this book. Veritex said comparing the ESV, CSB, King James version through this was interesting. I'm reading Amplified. I've never read Job through Amplified, and it's been a while since I've been through Job. Veritex said, yeah, it does. Grief, you go from not wanting anything or to say anything, then you start, and it's like you can't stop at times too. It's, yeah. I mean, it's just, you're in an odd place. Like a person who's been in an accident. One moment if you've ever been in an accident or something, one moment you're in shock and you're not saying anything, and the next thing you just can't shut up. That's why they tell police officers after they've been involved in a shooting to not talk to anybody for a bit and wait for a lawyer or somebody to show up so that they can collect their thoughts. You guys can form whatever opinions y'all want from that, but to collect their thoughts so that they don't say something in the moment that might be taken the wrong way or taken the correct way. Who knows? But just so that they had that time and somebody to be an advocate for someone, say, hey, you should not be making statements at this point. They won't always do that. Lawyer, union appointed lawyer. They won't do that for you, but they will do that. But they do try to do that for their own. Renat said, Job's friends have got to be about as well off as he was. They have high standard of living and might not be able to appreciate all of what he is going through. They get to go home to a nice place and probably to their kids. Right? And maybe they're trying to put themselves in Job's shoes and going, if this was me, what did I do? No, I haven't done anything that would deserve this, right? What deserves this kind of treatment? Like you said, Nernath, bad things happen to bad people. Let's see. He talks about he talks from that aspect. Here's an interesting part as well. For the despairing man, there should be kindness from his friend, so that he does not abandon and turn away from the fear of the Almighty. Hey, you guys are supposed to be here to support me, and you're blaming me. You're saying that I've done something. However you read that first part, or Eliphas's first statement, Job took a misstep either in some way. He either misstepped in a small way, and God got mad and punished him for it, or he messed up in a big way, and God, in such a way that God, who is so caring and benevolent, still had to turn away from him. My brothers have acted deceitfully like a brook, like the torrents of the brooks that vanish. And where this is a part, the caravans of Tema looked for water, and the caravans of Sheba waited for him. There's Tema, a tribal descendant of the ninth son of Ishmael, and Sheba, a tribal descendant of Abraham and Keturah. So it sounds like there's some references to the children of Ishmael letting down the children of Abraham, the descendants of Abraham. Indeed, you have now become like a dried up stream. You see a terror, believing me to be a victim of the wrath of God, and are afraid to be compassionate. I feel like I need to blame you, because if I try to be compassionate, maybe God will think that I am against him. Here's an interesting part that I didn't notice. Nunea said, yeah, they don't invite him into their homes. In the Middle East, hospitality is huge. Very much so. That is a very big thing that I completely overlooked. In the Middle East, hospitality is huge. They all shunned him because they think God is mad at him, and they don't want to get in the middle of that. They came up and showed up for him. But perhaps if they thought that he was truly innocent, they would have taken him in. Of course, maybe who wants the guy with leprosy hanging out in your house too? He said, you would cast lots and gamble over the fatherless and bargain away your friend. Here is um here's where he really starts to get into him. Did I ever say, give me something or pay a bribe for me from your wealth or rescue me from my adversary's hands? Uh, Teach me, and I will be silent, and show me how I have erred. You said I must have done something wrong. Tell me what I did. You know that you don't have any evidence that I've set a foot wrong. I've never had any I've never given you any reason for you to believe me and that believe that I've done something bad. How painful are words of honesty, but what does your argument prove? You intend to reprove my words with a convincing argument when the words of one in despair belong to the wind. So you talk a lot, but what did you actually say to me? What does what you say actually mean? And how does that apply to what I'm going through? Now, please look at me and see if I lie to your face, for you know that I would not. Turn away from your suspicion. Let there be no injustice. Turn away. My righteousness and vindication is still in it. I'm still a whole man. I'm a man, right? I'm still here. I still think that I haven't done anything wrong. I just don't know why this has happened. But you find it. If you think and you can prove it, tell me about it. Bring receipts. We're not going to get into that tonight, though. Job's life seems futile. Is not man forced to labor on earth? And are not his days like the days of a hired man? This is going back to, look, we're not all that far removed from Adam and Eve. The man will toil. As a slave earnestly longs for the shade, and as a hired man eagerly awaits his wages, so am I allotted months of futility and suffering, and long nights of trouble and misery are appointed to me. When I lay down, I say, when shall I rise and the night be gone? But the night continues, and I am continually tossing until the dawn of day. My body is clothed with worms and a crust of dust, which is probably legitimate and some very close to being actual. My skin is hardened and broken and loathsome and breaks out and runs, his boils and lesions. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle and are spent without hope. Remember that my life is but a breath, a puff of wind, a sigh. My eye will not see good again. The eye of him who sees me now will see me no more. Your eyes will be upon me, but I will not be. As a cloud vanishes and is gone, so he who goes down to Sheol, the nether world, the place of the dead, does not come up. He will not return again to his house, nor will his place know about him anymore. Therefore, I will not restrain my mouth. I will speak in anguish of my spirit. I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. O Lord, am I the sea or the sea monster that you set a guard over me? When I say my bed will comfort me, my couch will ease my complaint. Then you frighten me with dreams and terrify me through visions so that I would choose suffocation, death rather than my pain. I waste away and loathe my life. I will not live forever. Let me alone, for my days are but a breath, futile and without substance. What is man that you should magnify him and think him important, and that you are concerned about him, and that you examine him every morning and try to test him every moment? You will never turn your gaze away from me. It plagues me, nor let it me alone until I swallow my spittle. If I have sinned, what harm have I done to you, O watcher of mankind? Why have you set me as a target for you so that I am burdened to myself? Why then do you not pardon my transgression and take away my sin and guilt? For now I will lie down in the dust, and you will seek me diligently, but I will not be. Life's hard, but my life has gotten infinitely harder now. This is what he's saying, what I'm reading in this. I am allotted months of futility and suffering, and long nights of trouble and misery are appointed to me. Here's another very well put part. When I lie down and I say, "When shall I rise and the night be gone?" The night never goes away. I am continuously in this state of suffering. I am continually tossing until the dawning of the day. Again, dawning of the day, I think at this point for him is not that, hey, that I got my life back. It's, hey, that I want my life to end. And he talks here, and I think he's being a little literal here. I don't know who he's talking to either. I think it sounds like he's talking to God at this point. My body is clothed with worms and a crust of dust. My skin is hardened and broken and loathsome and breaks out and runs. He's got boils. His it's festering and weeping. It's a mess, guys. Again, we're talking about how Satan attacks a man. His first move was to take in a one swift motion, take away his family and his belongings. They're gone. What do you think he's going to do to his body if he can do everything but kill him? You're talking tumors. You're talking all this. You're talking the worst. My Warhammer 40K fans, Nurgle, right? Think what Nurgle would do. And he's probably going through something very similar to that. Breaks out and runs. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle and are spent without hope. There's nothing left. Why do I remain here? Nunea said, I bet that Job and his friends have talked about things like this, and they expressed opinions on God and what he was like. I think they probably felt very smart back then. Reality is a shock. As I've said it a lot the past couple of weeks, life comes at you fast. And he's talking about, look, my life is so insignificant in the long run of things. Why won't you just get rid of me? So he who goes down to Sheol, he talks about we're talking about hell, purgatory. I don't know what he meant. I'll have to look. Let's look up Sheol. Sheol is a term used in the Hebrew Bible to refer to a place of still darkness that lies after death. It can interpret it to mean either the literal place in which the dead people are placed in the ground or the ancient world's concept of the afterlife as a subterranean land of gloom and deep darkness. Sheol is not well defined in the Tanakh. I can't remember how to pronounce it, but is believed to be a subterranean underworld where the souls of the dead go after the body dies. The New Testament Greek equivalent to Sheol is Hades, which is also a general reference to the place of the dead. The Greek word Gehenna is used in the New Testament for hell and is derived from the Hebrew word Hinnom. There you go. Sheol Ghoul, remember? Sheol Ghoul from on the Wheel of Time fans out there. Remember, Robert Jordan was a Anglican. No. Well, he was Anglican. He was Episcopalian. He was a high Episcopalian. Nico, you're just going to have to catch up. Though we aren't really, or you can pick up right here. It is. It's separated from God. It is separated from God. Where was I at? I've lost my place. He goes, but basically, he said, all right, but since I'm here and since I'm stuck here, I'm going to let it all rip. I'm going to tell you exactly how upset I am. I am upset with you. I'm not running away. I'm not abandoning you, but I am letting you know how upset I am with how I've been treated. Stop. End this torment. You have done all that you can do. And here I am. I remain in pain and enduring it and left to just wallow in this. He said, when I say my bed will comfort me and my couch will ease my complaint, you terrify me with you frighten me with dreams and terrify me through vision. So even if I lay down and try to rest, I am haunted by nightmares. Guess who's sending the nightmares? We don't even talk about this. He probably is not getting any sleep because he's in pain, and Satan is probably visiting him with terrible nightmares that he's probably living through when he's awake too. I would rather suffocate. And what is man that you should magnify him and think him important? What have I done? Why am I worthy of this kind of attention? And that you examine him every morning and try to test him every moment. Will you never turn your gaze away from me? It plagues me, nor let me alone until I swallow my spittle. Haven't even had a chance to catch my breath. If I have sinned, what harm have I done to you, O watcher of mankind? Why have you set me as a target for you, so that I am a burden to myself? And please, please forgive me. Why do you not forgive me? Take away my sin and guilt. Job is a man who regularly offers sacrifices, not just for him, but for his kids. And now I'm just going to lie down in the dust. And that's where we'll leave Job tonight. I've got a pizza here that's been waiting. So I'm going to roll that down. Yeah, Job saying, if I've sinned this bad, why do I still have your attention? What? Just get rid of me. Why am I still going through this? And it really, look, they're really digging in on this. Yeah, it's Job is 42 chapters to go through, and we are at chapter 7. We are going to be talking some more. There's going to be a lot of back and forth, but this is Job's basically rebuke of what Eliphas says in the first chapter. In the second chapter, him beseeching God and asking questions and raging out. He's going again, Veritex, like you're saying, he's going through that. He's going through those. Maybe not the 5 stages of grief, but he's kind of a version of that, like where he's just going. He's here and then he's here and then he's here. End it. This is where I'm at. Please, just leave me alone. Just end me. What have I done? Forgive me. What did I do? So Matt Felty said, I'm a bit back and had a call and catching up, but the consideration of what is man that you are mindful of him, that is echoed in Psalms, is such a profound consideration of our relationship with God. Not to cheapen who God is, but in many ways he's our father. You know, we make fun of a lot of the evangelicals, Sky Daddy, you know. Please, Daddy God this when they're praying. But we are supposed to be childlike in our faith. And so there is something to be said for how we appreciate how he looks on his creation. So, all right, guys. We'll pick this back up tomorrow. It is not, like I said, it's depressing, but it's worth going through. And I think that we're getting a ton out of this. So, guys, I'm going to go eat. I'm going to watch some TV. I'm watching Yu Yu Hakusho right now. Yu Yu Hakusho, whatever. And I'm finding it's just basically like Bleach, only with a little bit of differences. And it's much older. Anyways, we will pick this back up. Matt Felty, Veritex, Nernaeth, Nico, Jab, Alex, Carl, Dresden, all you guys in the chat. Thank you for your thoughts. Thank you for giving us your insights in this. Folks who have read through this and poured over it and studied it and pulled things out of it before. I really, really, really want to hear your insights. A lot of people are able to pick out a lot more than me. As Jab said, all my takes are flawed. But in all seriousness, this is a very real book that we go through, and stuff, parts where we can relate, or we know somebody who can relate really well. So I hope this is something you guys are finding edifying, but you guys keep tuning in, so I just assume it is. All right, guys, you guys have a great evening. To the guys in the chat, to the folks who are listening and not commenting, that's fine. To folks catching me on the replay, hope to catch you live soon. We'll get to pick this back up tomorrow night. And in the meantime, guys, have a good night. God bless.